Hello there. Don't mind me, I'm just playing around a bit with the camera setup. But now that we're all here, let me just take this moment to tell you a little bit about this video that you're about to watch. A couple of weeks ago I was in Belgium for Bunny Bash, and that really was a blast. And while I was there I got to meet up with Sean Wauters, the founder and head instructor of Ex-Generibus, one of the local clubs there. And we had a bit of a discussion and had a couple of sparring matches to try and dive into the relationship between Messer and sword and buckler. And the result of that is what you're going to be watching right now. So I hope you will enjoy this video and let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with our idea that Messer and sword and buckler are very closely related, or do you disagree? Let us know. And finally, of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Anyway, having said all that, let's go and dive into the video. Okay, hello everyone, it's Oscar at Virtual Factual here, and I'm here today with Sean Wauters from Ex-Generibus in Belgium, and he teaches mostly sword and buckler there. So Sean, what did we do today?
We tried to compare Messer and arming sword with or without the buckler, using the sources Lichtenauer, Liegnitzer, Lekuchner. And we tried to compare techniques with each other, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty much. And one of the things we tried is fencing Messer against Messer, Messer against arming sword, and then very interesting, a Messer against a sword and buckler. We both tried fighting against the buckler and with the buckler, and then at the end a round of buckler, sword and buckler versus Messer and buckler, just to see how that goes. And I think we found some interesting things. So what was the thing that struck you most about the experience of sparring with these asymmetrical and different weapons? Was it very similar or very different?
They were comparable in certain ways. So I think 80% of the techniques were comparable, Messer with the arming sword. But you have the presence of the nagel, and that's pretty important in Lekuchner, I think. And yeah, you obviously do not have the nagel on the arming sword, so it gives less opportunities with the arming sword. But in the end, I think it was quite possible to achieve the techniques either with the arming sword, with the Messer, comparable to one another.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really struck me, and I didn't expect that, is that I really didn't have to shift my game all that much when I tried fencing with a Messer against someone with a sword and buckler. So I could pretty much stick to the same long point, Durchwechsel. I managed to land a duplieren over the buckler. I didn't really have to change my game all that much. So that's pretty interesting. You'd expect that you have to move around the buckler a bit more, but it's it's something that gets in the way. It's an obstacle, but you can move around it in the same way that you would move around another Messer. So any other things that you found interesting?
I noticed I'm more experienced with the buckler, so Messer was I'm less used to do. So I noticed once that I changed to only Messer, it was more difficult to do some certain techniques like Einlaufen and stuff like that. And yeah, the buckler really gives presence, and it makes it possible to get away with things you normally would not get away with in Messer. So when you make a mistake with a buckler, with the arming sword and the buckler, you can correct it by using the buckler. But when you do not have the buckler in only Messer or only arming sword, a mistake could kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I agree. I do find that it's very interesting that one of the things you do see in Liegnitzer, sword and buckler, is that you do get leg shots, and you don't really see them in Messer, because if you go for a leg shot, someone would just like stick you with Langenord. So you get the opportunity to do that, so that is a difference there. So to wrap it up, would you say that Lekuchner, Liegnitzer and the overall Lichtenauer style of fencing, is that very comparable?
They are, to me, they are quite comparable. I used Lekuchner, Lichtenauer, Dürer, Liegnitzer. I use them all in my classes, and I tend to end sword and buckler on these systems, because there are not many places about sword and buckler in Lichtenauer. Lichtnitzer says a few things about sword and buckler and uses the Lichtenauer terminology.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing we have for the moment. And that's why I think you can end Lichtenauer on sword and buckler just by the terminology Lichtnitzer uses. And when you look at Le Kuchner and Durer, it's basically Lichtenauer with a one-handed sword.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they are interchangeable. Yes.
Yeah, I think I would agree. One of the things I very strongly notice is that I personally don't really fence according to a sword and buckler system. I just fence Messer, and I have an extra tool in my offhand, and I can use that sometimes. But I can also just have it there and just perform Messer around it. I personally think that you can get into sword and buckler very well coming first from a background of just single sword. And then you add the buckler, and it just gives you an extra layer of protection and offensive options.
Yeah, I think it's even better to come from only one-handed sword and then adding the buckler, because what I have noticed, I'm used to do arming sword and buckler, and when my buckler is pinned, I was stuck sometimes. And what I noticed in your fencing is that when your buckler was pinned, you just continue with your arming sword, the messer or whatever, but you are used to use only your sword, so it doesn't matter whether your buckler is pinned or not. You just continue. I think once you're used to only use the sword on itself, it's easier to flow with once your buckler is pinned.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when you are not used enough to use a buckler, it can be that you forget you're having a buckler, and you forget to do the shield slack and stuff like that. So there are pros and cons on.
Especially you do have to get used to the weight on your arm as well. The fact that you have to keep it extended, which will get heavy after a while. So
and that's the second thing I noticed once I used the buckler. My sword hand. There was less load on my sword hands because I could use my buckler. When I use only the sword, the arming sword or the messer, you only have the sword. So you can't divide the loads between both arms.
Yeah, something I'm personally more used to, but then again, I have a background of mostly messer fencing, so So I guess there you have it. I think we can conclude based on both of our expertise in this and the experiments that we did today. It's really a good idea to start with learning single sword first and then add a buckler. And bringing both of them together, the experience will certainly enrich your skills. So if you want to learn fencing with sword and buckler, Lichtenauer system has a lot to offer, and you don't have to limit yourself just to Lignitzer. There's way more out there, I suppose.
Yes, and as many as possible. You have Lignitzer, you have Lichtenauer, you have Dürer, you have Le Kuchner. So all these manuscripts are valuable added to your repertoire of techniques you can use, because there are certain techniques in Lignitzer or in Lichtenauer that are not explained in Le Kuchner, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's very much a mix and match. It's all the same system, but they teach it by opening different windows on it, really.
Yes.
And teach you that getting all those different systems will open as many windows as possible, giving you the best view of the art, so to speak.
Yes. As broad as possible.
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell, I think that this is good for today. So thank you very much, Sean. I really enjoyed sparring you. Thanks for watching this. I hope you found it interesting, and let me know what you think in the comments. Check out Sean's school as well. I'll link it in the description down below. And on that bombshell, for the second time, see you all in the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.
Ja, ja. Eerst nog mooi.